Correct.
So any new development then would also be impacted by the comprehensive plan, is that correct?
Correct.
By those new policies. Tom?
Would raising a house in the historic district to a higher elevation to accommodate different flood elevations, how would that impact?
Well, people can do it now.
It would still go through the same planning process as it does the building process right now.
People can do it
Okay.
now.
Mhm.
Actually, FEMA urges people to do it for lower flood insurance rate.
They
And we have a lot of people who come in, if they're building in the historic area, they come in for design studio as it is, and we place those policies in there. It's something we currently do, and we're just formalizing it now.
Okay.
We do work with them as they come through.
So, but formalizing it, is it going to, what unintended consequences could that have, I guess is what I'm asking. Is it gonna cause more burden on a homeowner, on a potential?
As an attorney that represents the development interests from time to time, I would say, sure, any additional level of regulations that you have to be compliant with is going to create more of a burden. And it's just, all I'm saying is that we need to make sure that the comprehensive plan amendments are compatible with other provisions that we are comfortable and used to exercising. For example, FEMA doesn't require the elevating of a historic structure if it's considered, even if it's considered to be a substantial improvement, because by definition, a substantial improvement excludes historic structures. But even if you were to decide, for example, to modify your ordinance for the purposes of public health, safety, and welfare, to say that, and your ordinance is different than FEMA because you're allowed to do that, and be more stringent than FEMA, and say, notwithstanding the fact that FEMA model regulations would exclude historic structures, you say that you want all historic structures to be raised if there's an opportunity to do that, then the question would be, will that be compatible with the remaining historic value of the structure, and it would have to then go through. So there's, the question of what are the unintended consequences is impossible really to address, other than the fact that there probably will be unintended consequences. And,
Because it's another level of oversight.
Correct.
Each of the current existing historic districts do have their own LDRs already, so we're just bringing them in together with this.
So so bringing it into the comp plan as opposed to leaving it the way it was, I guess I just want a little primer on how that affects.
Well, again, conceptually, the comp plan drives the regulations. And so you adopt a comp plan, this element, and then you'll have to amend the regulations to be consistent with the comp plan. And if there are provisions in the comp plan that are not currently addressed by the regulations, then you'll have to adopt regulations, which would then mean that it would be more stringent than it currently is. It's just a matter of making sure everything is consistent if you don't want to really add more impact than what's currently out there.
You feel like we have that now, or?
Yes, the comp plan already implements the big overview picture, while the LDRs are more specific to the site. So this is what we want to do to protect the area, but our LDRs are existing, and as you're coming through the process, they're already there. So we're not changing those.
Have you
Okay.
found anything of significance?
No, we were looking at it more proactively for, opportunities with grants and to, education purposes, connecting with the new groups that are in all the historic groups, because there's so many different historic groups. We want to sort of bring them work with each of them and try to bring them together on how we want to move forward
Good
with
luck
our-
with that.
In order to better answer your, well, let me ask this question. What is the status of this new element? What are you going to need to do to have it implemented as part of the comprehensive plan?
The adoption into the comp plan. There's no new rule, there's
Are there
really,
public hearings required in order to adopt this element into the comprehensive plan?
they will be done November and
Okay.
October,
So
November.
the point that I'm trying to, the ultimate point I'm trying to get at is that who knows what shape this element is going to be in when it finally goes through all the public hearings. And it may be that you're going to hear from citizens that want something else added into the comprehensive plan to better protect historic resources. And if that does happen, that may have as a ripple effect, because our land development regulations are supposed to follow the comprehensive plan, not the other way around. There may be a requirement to then amend the regulations in our land development regulations to be consistent with the adopted element. And that's where there's the possibility of more stringent regulations or unintended consequences. And I'm just pointing out, just need to be aware of it, that's all.
Okay,
So it's a work in progress.
yes. Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
Okay, next we have recommendation of city officers. First is city manager.
Our lobbyist is available October 1st, 2 PM for a workshop. So that'll mean if we can end the council meeting at a reasonable time, have a lunch, and then come back for 2 PM workshop.
Sounds good?
Everybody on board?
Yep.
Are you providing lunch?
No, he said we could go have a reasonable.
We will, if the meeting goes long, we will provide.
At 2.
And then you'll have a lot of angry council members.
If the meeting goes long, yes, we'll provide.
We'll tell Nikhil to hold off on
October 1.
October
okay.
1st at 2 o'clock. We're planning to have a workshop that will be
Awesome.
noticed
Here. for
in
the
council
lobby.
chambers with our lobbyist.
Good.
Perfect.
What else?
Nothing.
That's it? City attorney.
From the looks I've been getting from city staff and the city manager, I've said enough already.
You were active today, I have to say. City clerk.
Okay, we have quite a few vacancies. We have a seat on the Charlotte County Marine Advisory Committee for a city representative.
Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Okay. What do you want to?
Well, it just came about that somebody was interested in the seat that does not live in the city. And so although it's not a specified requirement through the county, does the board feel like we would want a city resident as our,
I believe so.
historically, it has been a city resident?
I mean, this is on the Marine Advisory Committee, and I think it's very important for our city to be represented by someone who knows, participates and lives in our city.
And what I had found was that all the other members are members of boat clubs.
Clubs.
Or
Member at
flotillas.
large.
And obviously, that person has to be a member of that club to serve. So it would kind of follow that if they're going to be a city representative, they would be a resident of the city.
Is everybody, I'm okay with that.
I
Is
feel
everybody-
similar as well.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So, yes, we're looking for a city resident to fill our seat on the Marine Advisory Council.
And as we understand, Mr. Novak is not going to be available, is that correct?
He's
He is-
relocating.
He's relocating to
So,
Tennessee.
okay.
He's done a great
Howard,
job.
do you know if he was going to serve out his term, though? Because it wasn't up until late December.
He may not be able to,
Okay. we'll
but it's
contact him.
close.
Well, he's done a great job for us.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
he's
kept
done
us
a
very
Great
well
job.
informed.
Communicates well, yes.
Okay. We also have an unexpired term on the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have an unexpired term as an alternate on the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have an unexpired term as an alternate on the Building Board. We have a 3-year term on the Code Enforcement Board. We have a 3-year term as an alternate on the Historic Preservation Advisory Board. An unexpired term as a regular member on Historic Preservation. And last but not least, we have an unexpired term on the Police Officers Pension Board. That's it.
Thank you. No other, just vacancies?
No
We have plenty of
applications?
vacancies for all of
Get the
you
word
who would
out.
love to be involved with the city. You can have your pick at this time. So please fill out the applications.
Should we make any extraordinary efforts to try and get the word out to everybody? I mean, Civic Association, whatever, yeah, could we
Do we have
try and
anyone
do that?
from
Sure.
the Civic Association? Perhaps we can, in our different organizations,
We,
Brainstorm.
just as a suggestion, we have a mailing list for all those folks who served, or who participated in the Citizens Academy. We
That
can
would be
contact
great.
them again. We could send something to the civic associations, and we could also do a press release if you like. It would be up to the paper to pick that up, but we could do a press release.
They're usually good about that. That would be.
They're pretty good.
Great
That's a great
idea.
They
idea.
run the
Thank you.
county all the time. In the South County Coalition, they're usually good about getting it out there too.
Yep, good idea.
thank you.
We might have to show up at one of their meetings and beg some people to sign up. Thank you. Okay, next, policy and legislation. I don't have anything. So we'll do council member comments and we'll start with Nancy.
I know that a lot of people watch us on TV, on the YouTube channel, I should say. And I've had people stop me and say, oh, yeah, I watch the council and enjoy watching. So to all of you out there, thank you for watching and staying up on what we're doing. We don't see them here in the room, but we know they're watching, so that's really great. So thank you all.
Kim?
I'd just like to let everyone know that this Saturday is the second annual Youth Regatta over at the Bayfront Center. And so we'll start registration at 8 o'clock, so come on out. That's always a great day. And I have been in contact with a few of the pickleballers. I don't know if you've noticed, but that has just grown by, it's just so crazy over there. It's like waiting room only. They bring their chairs and I was wondering if maybe we might think about, there's tennis courts at Cooper Street, right? That maybe we should stripe some of those for pickleball courts? I'm telling you, it's a big waiting list all the way to the road. I think they go anywhere to play pickleball.
Well, they play at South County Park,
Okay.
and they play at Gilchrist Park. Well, you want us to stripe the Cooper Street too?
I don't know. What do you think? I
Well, a
mean,
question, don't we have other tennis courts here that aren't striped?
Yes,
we do.
Gilchrist Park.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know that we should do them all, because then we might have the tennis
We've already
players.
had turf wars over there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying Cooper Street is kind of an untapped resource.
I think that's a good idea. It would actually help bring attention to Cooper Street.
Yeah, and the east side,
To make
which
people
is
aware.
wonderful, you know.
If Cooper Street would be,
Just throwing it out there.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Okay.
Let's see what they say.
Yeah, that's it.
Tom?
Nothing, thank you.
Carolyn? No? Okay, citizens' comments on any topic. Please come to the podium, state your name, you have 3 minutes.
Won't take 3 minutes. Boaters Alliance, so we're talking about the Marine Advisory, Jay Buckley with Punta Gorda Boaters Alliance. We were just awarded a seat on the county Marine Advisory Committee. So we're filling a vacancy that was vacated actually by the Conservation Committee, and the company dissolved. So at the last meeting, it was voted that the Boaters Alliance would fill that seat. So we've had a nomination. He will be announced at our meeting tomorrow. Be a matter of paperwork, and then get it up there, and they'll take their seat and start a 3-year term. I didn't realize that Herman is Herman resigning as the city's representative. Well, that's a shame, because he has done a great job. He's right now, this year, he's we call it chairman, right? And but the city, I promise you, the city is well represented. a lot of, right now, some of the folks on the advisory committee feel that Punta Gorda is overrepresented. But
Never.
yeah, we try to hold that down to a minimum, but be assured that you're represented, and I hope somebody does, qualify to apply.
Thank you.
Thank
Patty.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Patty Allen, Fisherman's Village. I went on a website, Christmas lights, etc. So Mark, if you're hearing me, and they had the wreath with the candles, and it didn't say sold out. So I think there is some other opportunities there. So don't want to get into their business, but I'm all about the show business.
Thank you, Patty.
Thanks, Patty.
Good morning, council members. Jerry Waxler with the McCrory Law Firm. I'm here this morning on behalf of Mike and Leanne Maples. They're recent transplants to our community, purchased a home on Grebe Drive. Grebe Drive is located on, I guess, what you would call a perimeter canal. It is across, their lot is across from the large vacant tract on Akiesta that I have a history with that we won't go into this morning. Historically, the city has issued dock permits to similarly situated lots in this area and has permitted boats to be moored at these docks. I have an aerial if you want to see it, but that historically has been the situation. When the people who sold the home to the Maples inquired in June whether a dock with a boat would be permitted on their lot, they were told at that point, there was an interpretation provided by David Levin of Section 6 of the Punta Gorda Code that a dock and vessel could extend into the waterway up to 16 feet. And based on that opinion, the Maples entered into a contract to purchase the home. They closed in August, and just by coincidence, on the very next day, Mr. Levin issued a revised interpretation, the effect of which limits the Maples' ability to put a boat and dock now that one that could only extend 8 feet into the canal, which effectively means they can have a dock, but no boat can be moored there. Mr. Levin's memo and analysis are very, very thorough. He is always very thorough. I have hired him personally for my clients to research information. But like most legal issues, an argument for a different interpretation can be made. The implication of Mr. Levin's memo is that it renders those previously issued permits at best legally nonconforming, but potentially simply illegal as issued in error. The interpretation will affect property values throughout the area, and the interpretation seems at odds with the code, which, when it was drafted, went to great lengths to find balance between maintaining navigable passageways and permitting waterfront property owners to have the benefit of using those waterways and accessing them by boat. I have tremendous respect for Mr. Levin, but an issue of this importance to Punta Gorda, which is at its essence a boating community, shouldn't be decided by an interpretation made by the city attorney. The interpretation shouldn't be made by the city council after you have received and reviewed Mr. Levin's legal analysis, as well as perhaps some other people's legal analysis, as well as information that advocates for all the positions, that looks at and considers the intent, the original intent of the ordinance, and after you hear from the public. And for this reason, this morning I'm here to respectfully request that you place this item on the first available agenda so that you can have this information brought before you and so that the council can render a decision on how docks should be permitted along these perimeter canals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Any other citizens' comments? Please come to the podium. Seeing none, we are adjourned. 11:30.